All right, what is going on today, chat? What is up? What is up? Another day, another grade review. So we are just going to kick right off into it. We got a lot to cover today. I have a card show coming up this Sunday that we are going to be looking at some inventory. I figured that would be kind of a cool thing to do, to go through. I have a lot of stuff that is still unprocessed, so we're gonna be reviewing some of that towards the end of stream. Then we are going to talk about a new topic that was voted last week, which was fear of missing out, or FOMO, in the Pokemon hobby. And we are just going to jump right in to grade review. Mike, what's going on, man? So, for those of you who don't know, my name is Galaxia Gaming, and every Wednesday I do what's called grade review, where we review the community members' cards that are submitted in the Discord to give an assessment on what we think these cards would get as a potential PSA grade. And to start, we're going to start off with my man, the one, the only, Mike. Thank you, as always, brother, for being a subscriber. And let's get into this chunky boy. So as a recap, there are 4 main grading criteria when looking at cards. And those are centering, corners, edges, and surface. So we're going to be looking at all 4 of those today. And let us get in with the Japanese Rainbow Rare, Eevee, and Snorlax. In my opinion, I believe that Rainbow Rares are kind of slept on a little bit. There's a lot of hate for them for whatever reason in the beginning. But I feel like some of the art and some of the texturing and just how they look sometimes is really good. Like the Lunala tag team, for example, in a Rainbow Rare looks fantastic. So super excited to always review some Rainbow Rares. Just give me 1 second. There's some other stuff I got to set up here. Making sure that everything is good and ready to go. And if you guys are enjoying yourselves tonight, I always appreciate the standard like, follow, all that fun stuff. So let's get into it. So, the Snorlax Eevee. So the centering, my friend, so far, so good. Not seeing a whole lot there. Let's look at some of those corners. And so I think a lot of what you said on this submission, so your bulk of your submission said, can confirm any little fuzzies you usually yell at me for. If you see something on the card, it's not something that will come off. There are some spots that are on the card and I can't remove. So I'll have to keep an eye on that. So the first thing I see, if we kind of go in the top right corner, is I'm not sure, and this might be kind of what you're talking about, would be in this kind of section here. I'm not too sure if those are little folds or little dings. I'm not too sure about that, but I'm sure there's some other pictures that you have of this card that I'll probably take a look at. So I'll kind of have that, kind of have a better idea. So that's always good for me to note. Top edge. Yeah, exactly, Mike. Top edge looks good. Top left corner looks good. And as we kind of go along this left side, so far so good. The bottom left corner. Yeah, so aside from that, all the edges look good. The surface of this card looked good. And you also said that there is other angles as well that we're going to take a look at real quick. So if I click in the right scene, so you guys know what I'm looking at. So this was the first spot that I was looking at. And judging by this angle, it's kind of tough for me to really... And so where I'm looking, chat, is right here. Right along that. You did. You sent some more. So you have... So for the Snorlax, you have the front view. The front view, side 1, and then side 2. But we should be... This should be good. But you sent some other... I mean, you sent some other angles, but... It will also look at the back, too, when we flip that over. But so far, this looks actually pretty good. It might be just from, like, a texturing thing. But I think we'll know once I kind of flip it over as well. And here's some more angles. And then you were saying that on your message, you were saying that any little bit of whitening that I highlight is something that would not come off. So what I'm seeing, just for reference, and this is a really good thing to kind of keep in mind, guys. You know, I might be really kind of honing in or really being nitpicky on some of the things that I see, but a good rule of thumb is if we can see it in chat, PSA can see it. So that's kind of why I'm kind of being super picky. So the first things that I see, there's a little bit of something stuck here in that section, and then another by the snoot of the Snorlax. So there's at least 2 little bits of something stuck on there, or which I've seen sometimes in this texture foil is sometimes there's a little bit of a chip kind of removed from that texture, so it kind of causes the light to almost like bounce off weirdly or stuff like that. So those are just a few things that I've noticed, at least on the front. So the front overall looks really clean with the exception of those 2 little white specks, and we'll kind of take a look on the back side of this whitening that you guys can't see, which is on this side. So on this right side, that's really what I'm going to be kind of looking for when we flip it over. So as we do flip it over, this is what we are met with. So the centering looks good on the back. And as we go into the top right corner, again, I always kind of go counterclockwise, just something just personal preference. It really doesn't matter. Top right corner looks good. Top edge looks good. So the first thing I see is a little bit of potential whitening on that back, so that top left. So if we kind of flip it over, that would be on this side. So that's kind of that area that we were kind of focusing on before. So this top right flips over, and we have that little bit of whitening in that top left side. So we do have to kind of keep that in mind. So as we kind of go along the left edge, I'm not seeing too much. Bottom left-hand corner looks good. Bottom edge looks good. Bottom right corner looks good. Yeah, so really the only thing I've seen so far on the backside is just what appears to be a little bit of whitening in that one corner. But as always, in person, if you see that different, just let me know, Mike. But that's the first thing at least I'm seeing. But the rest of the card, I'm not seeing anything. Top left is clean. I think that's the light. Check another angle. Okay. Yeah, let's check this bad boy real quick. So that one I'd be interested in, and that one I'd be interested in. Perfect. Okay, so it definitely is the light for sure. So for reference, this is what I was looking at before. So a lighting definitely kind of kicking in there. But one thing I'm also seeing here, Mike, is... Let me get another snip here. Is all right here, and hopefully you guys can see it on stream. But it's definitely going to be these kind of scratches kind of going across the card. So you can kind of see it a little bit up here. You can kind of see it a little bit kind of cutting across. And I'll actually highlight just some major ones just so you guys kind of get a little bit better visual on kind of what I'm looking at here. So these are the main ones. Oh, true. My order got messed up. My bad. It's like Japanese to the English back rarity. Let's try that again, shall we, chat? Let's try that again. So this is the card. Okay. So, right here. There we go. So Japanese back matches with the Japanese front. That makes more sense now. Okay. So, there we go. So this was that one top left corner that we were worried about. So if I look at it from this angle looks good, but this one's still a little iffy to me, my man. I'm not, let me take a snip so you guys can see what I'm talking about. It's gonna be right there. And that's just, I don't know. That's really weird to me. Because like on the front angle here, you have a little bit in that top left corner. But then when you look at the other one here, you don't really see it. So it's a little tough. So as long as you're saying it's clean, just to not get too hyper fixated on it, because you're obviously the one that sees it in person. If you're saying it's clean, then I'll just kind of omit that. I'm not gonna grill you too much. But aside from that, when we're looking kind of at that front and the back, so the front side, like I said, centering looks good. It's just really those two bits of whitening on the Snorlax's kind of nose and up here on that top part. But aside from that, I'm not seeing anything else other than what appears to be this little issue. Good, I didn't see it on the backside, but I don't know what this is. But again, it might be some of your lighting that you're talking about with the texture and whatnot. So I'd probably say, you know, I think my ultimate grade, I don't think it would get a 10. I'm probably thinking anywhere between a 9 or an 8. If a lot of what I'm kind of talking about is just kind of light illusion or something like that, because that's what it seems like this card in particular is. It has a lot of that kind of weird whitening. Then that is something that we'll have to kind of keep in mind. But if that is there, probably more of an 8, but I don't think it'd get any worse than a 7. So 9 if everything looks good and if it's all just primarily lighting, but those are the only two areas that I would kind of focus on, is that top left on the back and then this right side. If that is there and it's not lighting, then more of an 8 than a 9 for the Snorlax. All right, next up, we got ourselves the Mew. So let's take a look at that bad boy. So the Mew is up next. So get that out of there. Perfect. All right. So actually, this one, I think, is the first time I've ever seen this Mew. It actually took me a little bit to find the thumbnail for this card. It is a really good promo. All right, the Mew. Let's take a look. So let's grab some screenshots because there's already some stuff I want to try to mark up here. Okay, so the centering looks really good. Not too worried about it. Maybe a little bit thicker on that left side. Well, actually, now that I kind of think about it and look at it a little bit more, probably should just do a courtesy show ruler here. And so we're going to take a line from there to there. And we're going to take a line from there to there. So left side is 1, 2, 3, 4.5. And then right side is, we got 1, 2, 3-ish, probably like 3.75. More towards the 4 than the, more towards the 4 than the 3.5. So again, this is always something that I encourage you guys to measure on your own. When people ask me, what do you use? Right now, I'm just using a snipping tool. But in terms of centering, it's kind of up to you. I personally just use a ruler that's transparent because I don't look for black labels. But as long as we're in that range of like the 55-45 or 50-50, I just pretty much eyeball it, to be quite honest with you. So here, we're going to do 4.5 divided by, and then the history was 825. So 4.5 divided by 8.25. So we're technically within the range of 10 centering. So it's 0.545, or if we round it up, it's 5.5. So it's right on the nose, technically. So we should be good there from centering perspective based off what we saw. So let's continue with the corners. Top right corner, good. Top edge, good. Top left corner, okay. And we'll kind of get to the hollow here in a second, but I like to kind of just look at the edges. Get the green. So maybe a little bit of minor folding here, but you have some other pictures that I'm going to look at, so I'll kind of take note of that. This for sure is something, maybe even like a fold or a ding or something like that. It looks more of like a fold than a ding. Bottom left corner looks good. Bottom edge looks good. Maybe a little bit of something stuck there. Again, most of what Mike is saying which this is the person who submitted these cards for those of you who are new. Anything that we kind of see is like dirt marks or anything like that, normally you can get it rid of with a microfiber towel or a Q-tip and some distilled water. Nothing too crazy. But he said that he kind of has gone through that process. He's been here more than enough times. So pretty much anything that's still on the card is not coming off. And sometimes that just is what it is. It's just the nature of the game that we just have to kind of play when we're in it. Text looks good. Let's look at the holo. Possible scratching in this area specifically. But aside from that, again, that might just be part of the artwork, these little white dots. Once I am done with this submission, Cody, I'll definitely go in more in depth, but the quick answer is go to the link in my bio, go to the grade review, or go to the Discord, and then submit your cards in the grade review channel. But if you need more of an explanation, I can go over it once I'm done with Mike's submission here, which is a Mew, Slowpoke, and Psyduck, and a Raichu and Raichu. Alolan Raichu GX. So let's see the other angle. So those are some shots that I have at the front shot here. So let's look at more of the side here, see if we need to do anything else. So this is some of those scratches that I was kind of talking about on the front side. So those are kind of confirmed to being there. A little bit by the hand as well. But aside from that, again, a little bit more folding here. Probably that I can see on this angle. Only because I see a little bit of a shadow here, but we'll have to look at the other angle as well, which is this one. And this one you can really see some more scratches, and I think this one's going to be a contender here for a screenshot. So you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. So all these scratches up here. So like right there. Kind of like right here in this direction. And I'm kind of not overlaying them like I did before. But these are just some of the ones that appear to be scratches to some degree. So all these for sure will kind of ding us a little bit. So all those kind of green marks in the top left corner and then in the bottom right as well. So we note that. And then get rid of that one and that one. So let's flip it over. And actually, you sent some on this one. Some more scratches kind of by that Masakazu Fukuda? Masakazu Fukuda? Hopefully I didn't butcher his name. And yeah, but a little bit of scratches there as well. And then as we flip her on over, because we have to look at both the front and the back side when grading. So let's take a look on this side. And centering on this looks good. Top right corner, again, looks good. A little bit of some fuzz there, but again, anything that we see that I'm kind of noting cannot be removed per kind of Mike's little side note. So there's one little right there. Top edge looks good. Maybe a little bit of whitening here in that section. And since he submitted a few different angles, these are going to be good for us to look at when we look at the other angles, just to kind of confirm some of these. So there's like some little white specks there as well. We'll get to the scratches on the surface in a second. I'm just trying to focus on this, on the edges here to start. Bottom left corner looks good. Bottom edge looks good. A little bit of whitening there. Actually, I don't know why I don't use this tool. There we go. So right there, right there, right about there. So I'm just kind of noting some little bit of whitening and some kind of some areas where there are some issues just generically. So there's some right there on that right side. And then as for the surface, kind of going back to the P and Pokemon, We have some, we kind of just see, I'm not going to highlight all of them, but here's some of the kind of the major ones. We saw a lot of surface scratches on the front, so now we're kind of seeing some on the back as well. My guess is that a lot of these were probably in a binder. Normally when I see scratches like the ones I'm kind of highlighting, normally I see from cards that were not sleeved, you know, coming in and out of a binder, stuff like that. So as we kind of zoom out, you can kind of see my little marks here in green. So, for example, some whitening on the edges, some scratches on the front. But let's look at some other angles of the back just to kind of get some confirmation on some of the highlights that we did. So we saw, again, some of that whitening that we kind of highlighted on the back side. You got some right in that section. And then we look on the other angle, a lot of those kind of scratches that we kind of highlighted. I'm trying to zoom out just a bit so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Might have to screenshot this again. Let's do this. So right here is another kind of angle to kind of highlight some of those scratches that we highlighted in that one head-on. So all right here, here, boom and boom. So all that is surface scratches that will obviously take away from the overall grade. So we looked at the front and we looked at the back, so let's just do a little bit of an assessment here. So centering technically on paper from our little measuring tool looks to be good. Obviously look at it in person, but aside from that, the corners look good on the front. The only thing that I saw, aside from the Mew Hollow, which we'll get to in a second, see a little bit of a fold here. So I'd say with this, just to kind of highlight, you know, how much, some people ask me, you know, all the time, how much whitening damage is or how much whitening can impact a card, stuff like that. And so this one, if that is a dent or a fold or a scratch or something like that, that's going to take away. But if it's not, then, you know, obviously a lot of what I'm saying is just my interpretation of what I'm seeing. So if it's not on the card, then that's one thing. But if you get dinged and you don't know why, that might be why. So if you don't see it on the card, we'll have to omit it. But for now, that's kind of my range, is that there's a little bit of a ding there. And then some spots that, again, mentioned that could not be removed. And it's really just on the front hollow that is going to be the most cause for concern. And so some of these green lines that I'm kind of showing on stream now, a lot of these are simply just scratches on the card, not necessarily print lines. Not that one. So we're probably we're kind of getting into that 8 range, more so in the 7s, just because of the scratches. So let's flip it over, and that will kind of be a bigger determination. So a lot of what you're seeing on the green, you know, some of this whitening here on the top left, some minor whitening on that top edge, a little bit in that top right, and then you kind of see these little pockets on the bottom right. With some of these scratches being more predominant towards the P and Pokeball on the backside. And this is another really good shot at the back scratches that I was kind of mentioning. So in this case, I don't think, basically it kind of boils down to, do I think it's a 7 or a 6? I don't think it's mod play by any means. The surface on the front looks really good. You know, there's a lot of like weird little issues that Mike is saying that are really not present on the card in person. So when we look at this, it's predominantly just the hollow that I'm most concerned about. So I'd probably lean more towards a 7 as opposed to a 6, only because I think realistically, I think the big thing kind of saving this card is the lack of a lot of more notable whitening on the edges. Like, I know we really kind of only highlighted one very small amount. And again, this is why this one is kind of one I'd probably be hesitant on, because it does kind of translate what appears to be on the back in this section too. But if it's not there, it is not there. But it's really just the surface scratches is the biggest issue for me. But there's not enough whitening for me to really have confidence to say that it would get a 6. So my guess is that I'd probably lean more towards a soft 7. But But if it goes over to that 6, kind of some of the things that I kind of highlighted, if they end up being there, that would probably be my reason. If you get it back and say, hey, why did I get a 6? Some of those would probably be the reasons. So that would be a 7 on that bad boy. Next up is the Slowpoke Psyduck. Again, another rainbow rare. I really think that rainbow rares are kind of undervalued in my opinion. And they're pretty easy grades, so let's look at the Slowpoke and Psyduck GX. Get rid of some of these extras. And if you guys are enjoying yourself, I always appreciate any likes or shares or follows. Definitely means a lot to a lot of content creators to kind of help share the vibe, share the love. At the end of the day, I do this for the community absolutely for free. It's a free service that I offer every Wednesday, because it's always disheartening when people say, hey, I got my PSA return back and I wasted all this money to get 9s. It's like, well, I don't like that, you know? I want to be able to help you guys kind of learn on what to look for and stuff like that, so definitely appreciate it. So the front centering looks good. Top right corner looks good. Top edge looks good. Top left corner looks good. Left edge looks good. Again, I tend to stick with the corners and edges to start, and then I kind of work my way to the middle. It's just how I go about doing it. But corners and edges look fine. And as for the surface of this bad boy, looks pretty good. Nothing. Really the big thing that I'm tending to keep an eye on when it comes to rainbow textured foils is sometimes some of those textured patterns is kind of missing or kind of has like a little dent, which makes it look like a pit. But I don't see any pitting on that, which is good. So the front so far looks great. And on the back, again, kind of taking your kind of disclaimer here. If anything that's on the card cannot be removed from the card, we'll have to kind of take that into consideration. So the front side, a little bit thicker on that right side than the left. But again, the back is way more lenient than the front, so we're not too worried about that. So we have a little bit of some whitening here. We also have some in this direction. Left corner looks good. Again, that's just lighting. Have a little bit of something there. A little bit of something here. So right now, we're kind of out of that 10 range for sure. More into that 9, even 8 range. Just due to the amount of whitening that's pretty predominant. So I would say, you know, we're in that 9 to 8 range because of the whitening. But I think because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bits of whitening and or scratches, however you want to kind of call it, on the back. I don't think that that would be enough to pass pass for a 9. So probably, I would imagine, probably be more of an 8. I appreciate that, Sunstable. And I wonder if you're going to say the line, Bart. Say the line, Bart. Let's see. Let's see. There it is. And we're going to... Just give me 1 second, guys. Let's see. Account created. All right. Man, it's crazy, chat. The Twitch bots are insane. But anyway, I'd say probably an 8 on that bad boy, just because of the whitening, to be honest. And then the Raichu and Alolan Raichu. The alt art for this one specifically is so nice. I am always a huge fan of the Raichu and the Alolan Raichu. So, front. Let's take a look, my friend. So, the Raichu and the Alolan. So, front side. Centering, looking good. Let's take a look at those corners. Good. Edge, good. Top left corner, good. Left edge, good. Bottom left corner, good. Bottom edge, good. Bottom right, good. Giving you a grade on your test scores here, Mike. Better lock in. So yeah, all check marks, all good there. I bought the alt. Ooh, dude, that's probably one of my favorite tag teams, to be quite honest with you. Is the Raichu and the Alolan Raichu. But very, very good looking card on the front. Very, very good. So yeah, you get all check marks from me, my man, on those corners and edges, and surface looks really good. So let's take a look at the back. Again, for those of you who might be wondering, you know, how much of an impact the kind of the bowing that you see on these cards, it really doesn't have much of an impact. But for me, I tend to flatten them out before I send them out if it's something like this. But that's it. It's really not that big of a concern. So just in case if you're kind of wondering, just kind of keep that in mind. All right, top right, again, good. And then the centering looks good. Not worried about that. Let's see. This I kind of feel like is more of kind of overexposure and less of issues because of the light source. Like these little like specks, these to me look like pitting just naturally on a card in the card stock. But it's kind of tough to tell. Maybe something here kind of like, and I'll kind of highlight what I'm talking about. So like, let's use a different color if I can select one. So kind of like right here, possibly, but that's about it. Let's keep going down the line. So check that off. Left edge is good. Left corner is good. That's good. That's good. Yeah, or it just might be, honestly, sometimes when I kind of do these zoom ins, sometimes it's not as bad in person because kind of the camera kind of, I don't know how to say it. Basically, when you're kind of zooming in and the pixels get a lot bigger, that's kind of the only issue. But honestly, if you can kind of check this section out, this like kind of maroon or turquoise or pink line here, I think you got a pretty solid contender. You know, with the exception of just kind of flatten that out for me. But aside from that, the corners and edges look really clean. The front looked really good. So I'd probably, you know, I'd say anywhere from a 10 to a 9 if there is something here in this, in kind of this like green rectangle in this section. I'd probably give it more of a 9. But if there's really nothing there, I mean, I don't see anything based off of what I'm seeing here, especially on the front side. So yeah, I'd probably say probably a 10 if you can, as long as that issue on the back isn't actually an issue. But yeah. Okay, so those are your cards, Mike. So as always, my friend, I appreciate it very much. Make sure that I mark yours. And if there's anyone new in chat who is wondering how to submit your cards for a free grade review and go through the process like Mike just did, just let me know in chat. But otherwise, I'm going to just keep on keeping on. So next up, we have my man Rusty with some pretty big heaters of the Shining T-Tar. So let's take a look. So we got boom, 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 boom. We have a lot of different angles we got to look at on this bad boy. Man, that's a lot of T-Tars. All right, so let's make sure that my snipping tool is cleared and ready to go. All right, so not first ed, a limited Shining T-Tar. Let's take a look. Centering is a Gucci. Top right corner looks good. And I think we saw this on one of the other sides, but we're going to be looking right about there for some possible folds. Top left corner looks good. We're starting to see some scratches, but again, I like to stick with kind of the outer side of the cards first before kind of making our way in. Bottom left corner, good. Let's see. Bottom edge, got a little bit of whitening here. So boom. Bottom right corner looks good. And then now we kind of get into some of the surface scratches here. So in starting off in the top right, let us start at least kind of, so we got some right about here. So right within there, we have some in here. So far, this Tyranitar has a lot of just generic surface scratches to start. There's some more angles that we're going to take a look at as well, but these are kind of the ones that I see at least head on, and we'll probably see a little bit more definition of these spots as we kind of go across. Let's see. The text, we're kind of starting to circle some a little bit here. Some above the retreat cost. So yeah, a lot of dings and scratches here. So really, I kind of call it the ultimate foiling, because I was a Yu-Gi-Oh player back in the day, so I call this ultimate rare kind of texture foil. So you can kind of see some scratches here by kind of the belly area. Kind of see some in the kind of the armpit. And you can kind of see some right. I'm gonna kind of trace it a little bit. So a lot of scratches on this old Shining Tyranitar. So all the green is kind of what I've seen so far. So a lot of scratches on the front, but there are some more pictures that we can look at, and here are some kind of a little bit more exposed. So a big one that I see that we can kind of confirm here is this bad boy right here on that left side. So those scratches I kind of shared on the front end, you can kind of see kind of illuminate at this different angle. And again, the other thing that we can kind of confirm is this kind of ding in the bottom. See that little bit of whitening there. So the other angles, so we just have some more. A lot of this pitting is just natural and cardstock, so I'm not too worried about that per se, so I'll kind of knock that off just in case. So yeah, so these are a lot of the scratches that were highlighted by Rusty here. So you can kind of see all of these scratches kind of cutting across the card that will impact the surface score of the Shining Tyranitar. In addition, what's kind of nice about this shot, and I'll kind of zoom in just a tad so you guys can see the full card, is that we're seeing a little bit more scratches here as well. So we can kind of go across. And this one, I think, is worthy of a screenshot, just so I can better articulate what I'm yapping about. So we go here, and we see this kind of fold that I was talking about on the front, as well as some scratches here and some here. So we are definitely, just from the front alone, just to kind of put it into perspective, we are out of that 10-9 range. So we're at most, we're at an 8, but that's not my official kind of assessment score, but just to kind of put it into perspective, a lot of those scratches are going to give us some problems here. And I missed one other one. I think this was, yeah, so this was the other bit of whitening that I think is worthy of pointing out. So this right here, near that top pen, and I'm going to note that here because that was one that I didn't really entirely focus on. So right in this section, right about there. So we got that, perfect. So now on to, so we got the front there. So we got those scratches identified, these scratches, and these dents identified. So let us look at the back. So let's take a picture of that. So now the back side of the Tyranitar. So top right looks good from what I can tell. Maybe a little bit of whitening there. Let's see. And you also have some other shots on the back as well that we'll take advantage of here soon. Left corner, good. We checked that. We'll have to look at the reverse side of this one. Maru, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that very much. Some mild scuffing here. And now we're just kind of going across. I'm gonna get to the center here in a second, but we have some scratching here. Joker, thank you for the follow. Have a little bit of whitening there. Have a little bit of whitening there. So another thing to kind of keep in mind, guys, as I kind of note this whitening, this is a really good indicator, and what you're about to kind of hear me go through is how much I really think the impact of whitening has on a card. So this one's going to be a really good example on that, to answering that question. So we have even some like very mild scratching, kind of like all in this section. So now let's look at the surface of the card. So we have a little bit of dirt or grime right there. Have one in the Pokeball right there. And then again, stuff like this can be wiped off with a microfiber cloth, some distilled water, and or a Q-tip. So it's not like a huge negative, but it is something that we have to at least acknowledge, because when PSA or any grading company looks at that, they're going to ding the surface score. So let's zoom out a little bit. So anything that you guys see on screen that is in green, aside from the check marks, those are some possible issues that we're going to kind of take a look at here with some other angles as well. So here is another angle of that card. So this one is actually a really good shot. So we'll kind of take a peek at this. Do random black ink dots affect the grade? It really depends on its location, Antonio, to be quite honest with you. So if it's on like a predominant part of the card or something like that, it will. But some will kind of sneak away. User, thank you for the follow as well. So here, so we saw this more on the front, but this is a good indicator. So on this bottom side, this is a dent or a ding or whatever you want to call it. So those two are most likely dents or dings. So this one's a little bit zoomed out, so we really can't get like the high definition when kind of zooming in here. But really, these two are going to be our biggest focus from this angle. And we can kind of see that again here. And then this also is a really good shot. So we kind of have like alternating shots here. So this is the top part at a different angle. So you can kind of see some really notable whitening on that top right corner, which is interesting because so those are the two spots on the top side. But when we look at it from this angle, you know, this was kind of what I highlighted on the front as a possible bit of whitening, but because of the lighting here, you really can't see anything. And this is kind of like a sidebar conversation. This is a really good example on if you're looking at cards on Facebook Marketplace or eBay or anything that's online, this would be something that you would really miss, to be quite honest with you, because you can kind of see the lighting here, right? This kind of would say, oh, there's nothing here. It's just the lighting, the camera that was taking a photo of. Lucas, thank you for the likes. Appreciate that very much. And so when we look at it from another perspective, that lighting actually was hiding this little bit of whitening. So it's always important to get multiple angles when you're shopping online to really look at all angles of the card at all different lights, because a lot of this stuff was kind of hidden from the initial picture, which is this one. Because that one white corner in the top right side on this picture really doesn't look that bad here, but when we look at it here, it's really noticeable. So that's a really good example on how lighting can really impact the look of a card when being posted online. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind. And here's another one of this. So it looks like this spot. Man, so this is a really good example on how to take pictures of your cards if you guys do this. Do I recommend any free AI grading websites? I personally don't, Lucas. The only reason why I don't is I've just been doing this for so long that I kind of just use my own expertise, and I kind of measure, like I always keep track of, like when I submit cards for grading, I think, hey, it's going to get a PSA 7, and if it comes back a 7, then I jot that down. But if I get a 6, I pretty much just learn from it. So, but there's so much AI in everything that I honestly, it's more of kind of, you have to shop around, in my opinion. So that's the only thing that I see on that. And then that's the image. Okay. So a lot to talk about with the Shining T-Tar. So we're going to try to summarize a lot of the main, the main highlights that I saw. So centering is pretty good. I pulled the Mewtwo from Destined Rivals. The top to bottom centering looks slightly off, but everything else is good. I would say, you know, there might be some AI centering tools that you could use. The other thing that I use, you know, if you have it obviously in person, you just using a transparent ruler is good enough. That's what I use personally. But as long as you're within that 55-45 ratio, just do basic math on kind of dividing the averages of the two from the total. But yeah, I would say you can submit it in the grade review channel. It'll probably take a little bit, but again, this is a free service that I offer to the community. What's the difference between a PSA 8 and 9, like more dings or centering? It's really it's kind of tough to really pinpoint, Saucy. I would say centering is a big one, and then the amount of whitening on the edges primarily. But both really don't have scratches. So I think the main differences between an 8 or a 9 is just the centering and the whitening on the edges. More so on the back, especially for modern. Okay, so for the Shining Tyranitar, so everything that you kind of see in green are surface scratches. So if we're just to assess the front alone, the surface scratches on this left side of the border, the scratches on the Tyranitar itself in the green boxes, as well as this kind of line on the right side, and this ding on the top corner from what we can see from this image, as well as the bottom, we're starting to already be at like a 7 to a 6. Just as a starting reference point. Anytime, Saucy. If you have any other questions too, please feel free to let me know, man. At the end of the day, I'm here for the community, and I try to weigh in as much as I possibly can. So there's some more evidence of some of those scratches that I was talking about on the bottom right side. So that's kind of highlighted in green there. So it's just more of zoom in on just what I was talking about, that pretty major ding above the darkness energy in the top right corner. So that's why I'm kind of going more towards that 7, possibly 6 range. So as we flip it over, this is the backside. Again, anything marked in green aside from the check marks is kind of some stuff that we saw. Do I take it out of the rigid holder? Yeah, so the short answer, Lucas, once I'm done with the Shining Tyranitar, is I'll go over in depth exactly what you need to do, because I'm sure there's some other people in here that want to know as well, and I haven't done my spiel yet. Saucy, thank you for the follow, my man. Appreciate that very much. Okay, so here's kind of the main points that I saw. Some whitening here in the top right, which I'll get to in a second. Some whitening on this left side, some corner, some issues there, as well as the center. So now, when we kind of look at some more of the angles, you can really kind of see some of these pop here. So we have some dings here on the bottom, 1 and 2. On the bottom side, and on the top side, we see, I don't know what this is, honestly, because when I looked at the other angle, not that one, it was, where did it go? I shared it and I lost it. Let's see, I have way too many tabs open. It was this one. So I really didn't see much in this right section here on that shot. So I'm kind of hesitant to call that anything. I don't really know what this is. So I think benefit of the doubt because of what I saw in that one picture. I don't think that's anything. But these certainly are. So we have 1, 2, 3 dings in kind of the middle to the left here, kind of highlighted. And then this is more of just like kind of that zoomed in on that middle section. And that's where we can't see anything on that right side right here. So I would say, you know, the amount of whitening and especially the dings on the back, I don't think, you know, besides the mild scratches and a lot of the surface issues, There's really no bends or creases, which is a huge plus, but there are a good chunk of dings. So we're definitely out of the 7 range, so we're starting to kind of be in the 6 to 5 range because of that. And I would say because of the amount of dings on the front and the back that are visible on both sides, I want to say that you're probably looking more at a 5 than a 6. Because we have 1, 2 on the bottom there, really visible, 3, 4, 5 notable dings on the backside. I would, if I had this in my own personal inventory, I would mark it as MP. And so when I mark something as MP, that normally translates to I believe it would get a PSA 5. So I think that this Shining Tyranitar, with the amount of scratches on the front and the back, and the mild dings on the corners, but the rest of the whitening on the backside is really good, I'm leaning more towards this card being a 5 because of that. How bad does the centering have to be dropped from a perfect 10 to a 9, couple millimeters over? So how I normally do it, Maru, is, again, everyone has their own different techniques, but the basic technique that everything kind of equates to, and I can kind of show you real quick with the Shining Tyranitar as an example. So what I do, and this is what I do with I use a millimeter ruler with millimeter markers that's transparent. I legitimately lay it over the card in a top load or a sleeve or whatever. So what I do is just some math. So I measure on the left side, and I'm just going to call these tick marks just to kind of keep it easy. So if I measure the left side, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, roughly 5.5 on the left side. And then if I go over on this side, again, doing the same thing, kind of right about there. And of course I moved it. So it's going to be right about there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we got 6 markers on the right and 5.5 on the left side. So all you do, so however you're getting your number, you add the one side, so 5.5 on the left plus 6. So we have a total of 11.5. So if I divide the right side, which is 6, like tick marks, divide that by the sum of the two, which is 11.5, equals. So in this example, the ratio would be 0.52 or 52-48 ratio, which would be within the range of being a PSA 10 contender as the ceiling for centering specifically. So if this was like a 56, then you're technically at a 9 ceiling, because once you're outside of the 55-45 ratio now, then you're no longer in a contender for a 10 due to centering alone. So the ceiling would only go up to a 9, because the rest of the card could be absolutely flawless, but if it's like 56-44, then you're kind of out of luck. So hopefully that clarifies things, because again, you can apply that to anything with AI or in person or centering tools. All use kind of that root math formula. So hey, what's going on, Paul? Nice to see you, my man. Everything's doing good. Hopefully I get to see you. I'm going back in November, so hopefully you're around. I'll definitely be at that show. But yeah, nice. Thanks for stopping in. Okay, so people wanted to know how to submit your cards for a grade review. So I am streaming on multiple platforms. So if you are watching me on Twitch or YouTube, the link is going to be in my description. If you're watching me on TikTok, the link is in my bio. So once you click my link in my bio, you're going to click or tap the Discord icon. Next, you're going to be redirected to the Discord, where you're going to submit your cards in the grade review channel. So this is a free service that I offer to the community. I do these streams every Wednesday starting around 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And the only thing to kind of keep in mind is, since it is a free service, it is first come, first serve. So the faster you submit your cards, the faster I can review them. I'll only review them on Wednesdays. And once I have my Wednesday stream ready, the queue is closed. So submit as fast as you can. And just make sure to follow the rules. The rules are pinned in the grade review channel. So like, you have to have them clear. Like this Shining T-Tar, for example, was a really good example on how to take pictures of your cards, guys. A lot of the different angles and a lot of really good lighting allowed me to assess this card as accurately as I could. So if this was in a top loader or a sleeve, I couldn't do that, right? So just make sure it's good to go. However, if you want faster or priority grade review, like others have taken advantage of, Mike was one of them, the Discord offers a subscription starting at $2.99 a month. That gives you not only priority grade review, so you kind of skip the queue every week, but it also gives you a lot of other cool perks and features as well, such as more entries into giveaways and stuff like that. So that is how you do it. Would you update the Discord? So since I do multi-stream, all my streams will immediately be available to watch as a VOD on my YouTube channel. And that link is also in my link tree, which can be found right there. So if you click that and go into the live section, all these VODs will instantly get uploaded to the YouTube channel. All right, so next up is Crispy. We got a little bit of a dark one. So this is a kind of one that I can kind of do an assessment. It kind of just snuck by, but this is kind of an example of, you know, when you see a card that's dark like this, I'm going to be missing some possible whitening. So this is one that you probably wouldn't want to take, but this is modern, so I can kind of give a general assumption, but it's going to be very, very loose. So for example, the centering on this bad boy looks pretty good on the left to the right, top and bottom. Maybe the bottom a little bit thicker, and we'll actually kind of use exactly what I was just talking about for the centering. So this is going to be another good example. So we'll kind of measure, and for modern, most people kind of are in agreement, but it's really centering and corners are really kind of the nails in the coffin for cards not being a 10 contender. So for modern, it's pretty much 10 or bust. And so that's why we're kind of quicker with modern, because it's really a lot less to review, and it's kind of assumed that you're not throwing these cards down a flight of stairs. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the bottom. And on the top. How are illustration rares inspected for centering if they have no border? So you're talking to probably like SIRs, would be my guess. I think we actually have, or we're talking about like VMAXs. There's actually a VMAX coming up that I can kind of go over here, Maru. That there are still points of reference that you can use, especially if there's a card that has literally no border on the front. So 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4.75. So this one, for example, is good for centering. So around 4.75 on the top and about 5 on the bottom. So centering is not an issue here. But aside from that, it's a little bit too dark for me to see any pitting, so kind of have to keep that in mind. But then on the backside, there are some things we have to kind of consider here. So not that one. So the top right corner, good. Top edge, left edge looks good. So the only thing that I really kind of see here, and hopefully you guys can see it on stream, is that bad boy right there. So I would say if that is whitening, because again, it's a little bit dark for me to really tell, but if that is whitening, you're probably looking at a Gambler's 10 or a strong 9. So what I mean by Gambler's 10s is I've seen whitening that's been that mild, on, you know, PSA 10 cards before, but I've also seen some with that same amount of whitening that have gotten 9s. So there is kind of like a coin flip in that sense, if that's the only thing wrong with this card is that little bit of whitening, but due to it being dark and not really having it be illuminated, it's a bit tough for me to really make that full call. So if that is whitening, you're kind of at a Gambler's 10 or a 9, but I would say being conservative, I'd probably list that as a 9 if that is whitening. But again, just check in person because it's a little bit dark for me to really make a full confident assessment. But for now, I'm just going to list it as a 9 based off of the pictures that you've submitted. All right, next up is Nard with a fleet of Charizards. And so based off of these submissions, I'm assuming all are different. So we have a lot. We have a lot going on here. My Reshiram is a Gambler's 10 and my Zekrom's a Gambler's 9. Think it's worth sending to PSA. I would say if you think Like my short answer, if you're saying a Zekrom's a Gambler's 9, no. Modern, in my opinion, should be 10 or bust. If the Reshiram, if you bought it like as a pack price and you're kind of feeling risky, is this the card grading chat? Yeah. Yeah, I can talk about grading. We can talk about a bunch of stuff. But this is kind of whatever. Whatever you want to talk about. Okay, so the first... So it looks like we have 3 different Zards that we have to look at. So let's take a look. Set my Magikarp in the Discord. Nice. The queue is closed for tonight. But it will definitely be in there for a future review. Okay, Charizard EX. This one should be pretty quick here. So centering on this looks good. I don't see anything wrong with the corners on that top right side. Top left looks good. Bottom left, bottom right. So not too worried about that. So this one, Hushy, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that very much, my man. So let's see if you guys, you know what? I'm gonna be lazy. Let's see if you guys can see what I see. This is a good. So Saucy or Maru, some of the questions you guys were asking. This is a really good kind of practice here. So there are 2 things that I see specifically on this card that I think would prevent this specific Charizard from being graded as a 10. And I'm wondering if you guys can see the 2. So you might have to turn your brightness up or whatnot, but if you guys can't see it, I'll kind of highlight it here in a second. And while I do, I'm going to do this to take a picture of it so I can highlight it. Yes. Yep. You got it, Saucy. So the 2 things that I see on this card is this right here. So it appears to be kind of like a scuff on that surface. Sometimes I've seen this more often with Modern as of late. I wouldn't be able to grade tonight because the queue is closed, Lucas. But if you want priority grade review, if you want to skip the line, the Discord does offer a subscription starting at $2.99. But if you don't want to subscribe, which I totally understand, it's not a requirement. I'd probably submit as soon as possible. As well as this is more notable whitening, so I wouldn't really consider this as a Gambler's 10. I think that's a little bit too predominant. Because if I can kind of see it from like a full zoom out like this, chances are that's really hard to ignore. So I don't think that would squeak by. So I think this one in particular would probably get a 9, would be my guess. Because just that little issue there in the top right and that little bit of whitening on the bottom, just it's kind of is what it is. That's just the nature of grading. And I think this card is a really good example of just because it's packed fresh does not mean it would get a 10. So this looks like, I'm just trying to make sure that this is not, okay, so these are all different cards. So this Charizard, centering looks good, surface looks good on the front. But this one also has some issues. So this one's a little bit blurry on this one left side, but if I look at, take a new screenshot here. So what I'm kind of looking at, because I really, really need to drive. I normally don't go this hard into Modern, but I really think as of late, some people really need to know that some of this stuff will not be kind of tolerated by PSA. So all this right here, what appears to be whitening on this side, there, as well as here. And I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is just like a lighting effect because this all looks purple-y kind of like on this M. It almost looks like it ran out of ink. But I don't think that this would get a 10 either because of this whitening here on this left side and that whitening in the bottom left-hand corner. And if this is ink, that's even going to reduce it a little bit further. They're not going to like omit that. But I think it might be more lighting, but I genuinely don't know. But I think, regardless, I don't think it would get the 10 because of those 2 bits. This, if it's bad enough, it might even give you an 8. But if it's not as bad as we're seeing in the picture, you'd probably be still a 9. Would this card still pass? Yeah, right, Saucy. I kind of took the words right out of your mouth. So again, this one is a different one. So again, it's really just the backs of these so far have been really your kind of Achilles heel. So the front is good. But as we look at the back, let's see. Let's see. Is there a way to... No, there's not. So what I'm seeing here is, again, more whitening on that corner. More whitening here. More whitening there. All right there. So again, this one also would not get a 10 because of those bits of whitening. So here, so these alone, I would say this probably would be more of an 8, to be honest with you, especially with these two being on the edges and then these two being on the corners. I think you have at least 2 dinging you there and 2 dinging you there. So this one I think would be more of an 8, that third one, than a 9. So I'd say in order of your Zards, I would say 9, 9, and 8 on those. And then your Team Rockets Moltres. Again, really for modern, we're looking primarily at centering, corners, and edges. And I think this one is going to be another swing and a miss, but let's just double check, and I can really kind of zoom in here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But that on this, if we're looking at it at this orientation, the top side compared to the bottom, that top side looks very thick compared to the bottom. Or if you're looking at it at a normal orientation, the right side is much thicker than the left. But let's just double check, kind of do our due diligence here. And again, I'm just trying to make it easy. I'm just kind of referring to them as tick marks. But the math is still going to math, so just making sure I line up there. So we got there. Hey, Apple, how's it going, man? Hope all is well, my friend. 1, 2, 3, 4 on that side. My Zekrom centering is very similar to this Moltres. Well, this is a perfect example on kind of what I'm going to be looking at here. So we got 1, 2, 3, kind of like 2.75 would be my guess on that one. So 4 on the top and 2.75 on the bottom. So how we do it, 4 plus 2.75. So 6.75. So 4 divided by 6.75 gives us roughly 59. So we are not going to be in 10 contention purely because of the centering. So this is a really good example of how centering can make or break a card. And this one is going to be no different. And even that bottom side. Yeah, so this card definitely will not get a 10. Because you got the centering issues on the front. You also have some whitening here on the top edge, and you guys cannot see what I'm talking about. Sorry about that. Let me take a screenshot of that. So there's just a lot going on here. So you got the centering, you have this kind of like pack fold here on the top. You got, that there. You have this appears to be a pack fold. A little bit of whitening there. So yeah, this card I would not submit because I probably would think that it would get a 9, maybe even an 8. But I don't think it would get a 10 only because of the centering. Because if the centering is even worse, then definitely an 8. Man, I'm getting all the OGs. Gryo, what's going on, man? Hopefully all is well, my friend. Welcome in. Let's see. So this Latias, the centering is actually really good on the front side. The back side, let's take a look. So the back side, yeah, I hear you, Apple. It's been crazy, man. Actually, I'm going to be going through some, if I have time, going through some inventory tonight on some stuff that's unprocessed. I got a show this Sunday. So it'd be kind of cool to kind of show off what's coming. So a little bit of whitening there. Ooh, nice, Gryo. Hopefully that is going well. It's always fun. A little bit of whitening there. Yeah, so this one I don't think would get a 10 either. You have 1, 2 bits of whitening as well as a surface scratch. So yeah, we're kinda, and this right here. I don't know what's on this N. But I don't think, this probably get like a 9 to an 8 in that range. But I don't think any of the cards that you've submitted personally, and this is not being mean, I don't think that any of them would get a 10. You got it definitely like 9s or 8s for most of them. Would be my honest answer. All right, so Nard is done. Next off we have Muggsy with a blurry Umbreon EX. So we'll try to do our best here. But again, I kind of like to introduce some of these just to kind of show you guys like kind of what not to do. Like it's not terrible. This is the free subsection. Yep. So this isn't terrible. The centering is good because really there's not much other than just looking for whitening. And I mean, based off of what I see, I don't see anything staring at me and with whitening. But again, since the picture is so blurry, I can only make a very, very soft guess that it looks like a 10 contender, but it's really tough for me to tell. So, I mean, I'll say a 10, but just know that if this was clearer, I would be able to give a stronger assessment because I can't really see the whitening in the corners or anything like that. So just kind of take that with an air of side of caution is, I guess, what I'm trying to say here. Just because if it's a little bit blurry. And so next we have Kevo. More Charizards. This whole chat has been nothing but Charizard EXs. And this is a really good example on a good picture. So this right here, guys, this is perfect. Very well illuminated outside of a sleeve, black background. This is a very good example on how to take pictures of your cards for sure. Okay, so someone was asking me, especially for a VMAX, right? So some of the edges, right, is like a full art on the top. So basically all I do especially for VMAXs is like right where this little bit of whitening is on that left side, I just compare that to the other side. And so that's kind of normally how I do it. And then in addition, for the bottom, because there's really nothing on the top to measure, I kind of do something along these lines where I kind of measure the ratio from one of the corners. It's kind of how I normally do it. But the centering on this is really good, actually. Corners are good. 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 Bottom edge good. Bottom corner good. Right edge good. Yeah. All checks on that side. And if we flip it over, that's just some of the lighting on that side. So that's actually really good. Still need to make a few decisions. Well, hopefully they are good ones, my friend. Yeah, man, corner, this is really good. I think the only thing but I don't really think that's really even anything is that right there, but I'd say that this is a pretty good, if this were my card, I would submit it expecting a 10. I don't see anything wrong with the edges or surface or corners or anything like that. Again, surface is kind of hard with textured cards, but from what I'm seeing, this card looks really, really good. So I'd probably say 10 contender on that Mew VMAX for sure. Another Charizard EX. Okay, guys, let's hope that this one is a little bit better. Let's say you're grading a Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering card. How would you be able to grade centering? You know what's so funny? One of my buddies, let me see if I can find one. One of my buddies actually sent me a bunch from the Final Fantasy set. I think that's what you're saying too. Let me see if I can find one that I drew up for him. I don't know if no, I didn't. But basically, you use the text area. You use like the text box. So it would be like, let's see if I make sure I have it. So this one, for example, I would just use this one. So this one is a buddy that sent me asking for help. So I basically just line up with like this area. So like the text box on this left side and go out. And the same thing on the right side and go out. That's for the text box. That's probably going to be your primary reference point. In addition, any of the land markers, you kind of draw like a line through it, and I'll kind of show you. And you can do the same thing for Pokemon, which I don't mind. That's why I'm kind of not really minding doing this. So for here, you basically kind of draw like, so from the center point up. So kind of go from here. And then you kind of do... You'll kind of have to forgive me. I'm going to kind of do this as accurately as I can. And then you go from here. So right about there is your kind of your reference point. So you can kind of use markers like this to your advantage. And then you kind of have to basically, like, say you measure like, you know, maybe like a millimeter on this side, and then you measure a millimeter on this side. So you can kind of try to get a sense of like how off this is. But that's a very rough way of doing it. Because again, to your point, there's no borders on that side, but always use like the text area would be my recommendation. That's not what I want. So this side, the Charizard, this looks really clean. A little bit thicker on that left side. In addition, you do have what appears to be a pack fold, which I have been seeing PSA kind of ding some people on more so in recent times. So the reason why I suspect this to be a pack fold, and this is a good example, guys, of taking advantage of your light sources. So this right here is a little bit darker, like this side. Right here is a little bit darker than the rest of the card. So that tells me that this is lifted a little bit. So something like that, I would probably use like a... this is actually a really, really easy example of kind of what I and a lot of other people in the space have, like a humidor technique, where you get this card a little bit humid in a humidor, and then you just put this and press it in between some like plexiglass sheets and just kind of let it sit for like a full 24 hours. And normally that can kind of get flattened out pretty easily, because the rest of the card looks really good. There's really not a lot. So I'd say that one, if you can do that, be a 10, but if you can't, it'd probably be more of a 9. Just because that's a little bit noticeable, in my opinion. So, excuse me, I'm getting the hiccups now. Okay, so that is grade review for that queue. So again, if you guys are wondering, if anyone is new here, if you want to submit your cards for a future grade review, all you have to do is, if you're watching me on Twitch or YouTube, click my link in the description. If you're watching me on TikTok, the link is going to be in the bio. Next, once you are there, you're going to click or tap the Discord icon once it launches. Next, you're going to be redirected to the Discord, and you're going to submit your cards in the grade review channel. As a reminder, it is a free service, but it is first come, first serve. So the faster you can submit your cards, the faster I can review them. However, if you want priority grade review, if you really want your cards assessed, the Discord server does offer a subscription starting at $2.99 a month, which gives you priority along with some other good benefits like more entries into giveaways and such. And so if you want to support me, it's not required, but it is definitely appreciated if you decide to go that route. If not, no worries. Just submit your cards as fast as possible. Make sure you follow the rules, which are pinned in the grade review channel. So now we are going to go into our next segment. So normally what I like to do after grade reviews now is I like to have weekly discussions on things that I care about a lot in the community. There's a lot of misinformation and a lot of issues that people have in the community that I like to kind of, try to shed some light and kind of be, kind of like a guiding light, I guess, is the best way to put it. So let me get that set up. What's going on, guys? Man, my hair is awful right now. It's very humid in my apartment. So what's up? You kind of see me over here? So we are going to first adjust this because I feel like I'm like super low. And then we are going to open this up. Perfect. So the conversation for tonight is going to be, as you can kind of see in the topic below, how to deal with FOMO in the hobby. And I'm just going to mute this just for now. So this conversation was voted as the second conversation that you guys wanted to talk about. I do weekly polls on what you guys want me to talk about during this segment, which I kind of call the Galaxia Gaming Debrief. So the big one of today is going to be FOMO in the Pokemon card space. So for those of you who don't know what FOMO is, it's a short for fear of missing out. So it's like a psychological phenomena, if you want to put it that way, where you feel like you're missing out on something fun, or you're missing out on an opportunity, and you get this sense of like guilt that you need to react in order to, make sense of whatever you're trying to get to, don't feel left behind, stuff like that. And it's very predominant in Pokemon. There's a lot of, especially from social media, it's kind of ironic that I'm talking about it because this is some of the things that drives FOMO. But, a lot of social media influence, a lot of here's how much I made off this card, here's how much money you can make on this card. So there's a lot of monetary discussions around Pokemon as of late. And it's very easy to kind of get wrapped up in the hype. It's really easy to get wrapped up in, if I don't buy this card now, I'll never be able to afford it again, and that opportunity will be gone forever. And it's very hard and very difficult to process those emotions for a lot of folks. But there is ways that we can kind of navigate the fear of missing out in a healthy way to really be, at the end of the day, like how to accept that you simply can't catch them all. Haha, got it. So one of the things that so basically I'm going to be speaking from personal experience when it comes to FOMO. So the big one is that Pokemon is not going anywhere, right? So there's going to be a lot of big hitters. There's going to be a lot of big chase cards, and they'll forever be in Pokemon, right? So like Poncho Pikachus or Gold Stars or Shinings, those are going to be very, very expensive, very, very high niche cards, right? So, but those, those might give you a sense of FOMO. But there are other cards, that you kind of have to argue against that logic where, okay, well, if you're fear of missing out on a Gold Star or a Shining or a Poncho, there are other people who have FOMO of like the big ones, like the Pokemon Illustrator, which are like 6-figure cards, or a PSA 10 First Ed Charizard, right? 6-figure cards. Like that is so that's so expensive for most collectors that it's in a realm that it's not tangible. It doesn't make sense. So you kind of have to adjust that you don't need to get them all, right? So it's like way up here. So if you're kind of like at this, almost like at a bar where, okay, well, here's kind of like where the Poncho is. This is where my FOMO is kicking in, right? But when we're looking at like Pikachu illustrators, like way up here, this isn't even in your thinking. So kind of keep that in mind, that it's almost like a psychological game you have to kind of play with yourself, to where it's like, you're not going to be able to afford that, but you also might not be able to afford certain parts, which is okay. You don't want to go into debt for this stuff. So with those goals, with those cards that you really want, one of the big things is to set really clear goals, right? Like, what do you as a collector really want, right? So if there is a card, maybe there's like I know a really good amount of people who love collecting cards that aren't really expensive. So there's a person who I follow on Instagram. She's awesome, Kimmy. She loves Wooper, right? Wooper really isn't an expensive card, but she loves collecting them. And so that, to her, as an example, from a collecting point of view, gives her a sense of, this is what I love about the hobby. This is what I'm really enjoying to do. So that's a collection goal of hers, is to collect as many Woopers as she possibly can. And again, they're not very expensive. And so for the ones that do come around, then that allows her, as an example, to adjust what she really wants to do. If she wants to save up for it, if she wants to trade, consolidate, to put towards that card, because that card is going to be her number one goal to focus on. And so another thing that I see a lot of people really kind of getting wrapped up in is being okay with sitting out for a set. For example, me, I haven't bought a new set in like months, because so many times they get so inflated, the hype is crazy, Like the Seismitoad, for example, from Black Bolt and White Flare. That card has been hyped to the moon, and it's like a 180, 190, like $190 card. I don't know what it is now, but I have a friend who really likes Seismitoad and just wanted that card. But it's so hyped that it's just like crazy expensive. And it's okay to sit out of a set to let the hype die down, because it always happens. The ebbs and flows. Like Destined Rivals, hyped beyond belief. And I'm sure once we start to get into the megas and once we start to get into a full deployment of the Black Bolt White Flare, I can almost guarantee a lot of those chase cards that everyone was spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on are starting to going to regulate a little bit, because more and more product is going to be opened. So it's okay to sit out for a little bit to kind of help those costs come down, because I personally do it, and everyone, in my opinion, should do it if there are certain cards from a set that you're really trying to get. The other thing I feel like a lot of people get wrapped up into is the resaleability of the cards that they collect. So, for example, English versus Japanese, right? So if we have an English card and if we have a Japanese card, right? So we have English over here, and we have Japanese here, right? So English, let's say that this one is 100, but this version is 50. Some people have such bad FOMO that it's like, okay, well, I like the art. The Japanese version is within my price range. The Japanese version has better texturing, but it's not as much as the English. And some people have FOMO kick in to where long term, if they want to resell the card that they just really wanted here, they have a sense that, oh, I can't sell it and get much of a return as I could if I bought the English version. But at the end of the day, are you collecting due to enjoyment, or are you collecting from the enjoyment of the resaleability of your cards? And both are okay, but the latter gives more of an opportunity for that FOMO, because you're thinking about the bottom dollar, because if that card goes up, goes down, whatever, that range widens with English than it does Japanese. I'm not saying Japanese retains value and it's less risk. I'm just saying that, if you have a lower buy-in, you're going to have a lower sellout with Japanese historically when compared to English. So if you like a card because you want to collect it, just collect the version you want. If you want the Japanese and it's within your price range and you love the art, just collect the Japanese. It's not an issue. You know what I mean? You don't beat yourself up over because it's not as expensive as the English version. Because when we were kids, I remember some of my fond, like all up here, you guys can probably barely see it on TikTok, but all right there on my, and I'll even kind of do this real quick, just the chatting. So all those cards up there, those all from my childhood collection. I love those cards more than my actual inventory as a vendor, because those cards, collectively, they probably only cost like $300 because they're beat. I brought them to the playground, all that stuff. But all those I can remember very vividly where I got most of them. And that's the collection I cherish the most, and I don't care about the resaleability of them. Had I cared about them, those would all be gone and consolidated into something else. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind as to why that that kind of FOMO kind of kicks in for a lot of folks. And so some additional things to consider too. This is kind of more of like kind of advanced kind of talk from a FOMO perspective, but this desire or this kind of sales pitch that you need PSA 10s. And so, I kind of give it to the point, and this is kind of just a loose example, but let's say that one PSA 10, so this is PSA 10. And this is gonna go back to the English Japanese argument that I was making. One PSA 10, in most cases, could equate to, I don't know, let's say like 1, 2, 3 copies of the same card at a 1 lower grade. So you could get triple the cards in a PSA 9 than 1 PSA 10. And so the point I'm trying to make is, if you want the PSA 10, again, just your goals, kind of what I was talking about with setting the goals that you specifically want. But if you want to collect, say, like a jungle master set graded, it might be a better time in your investment to buy the PSA 9 versions, to buy 3, so like Jolteon, Vaporeon, Flareon, versus the 1 Snorlax as a PSA 10, just as an example. And the nice thing about the 9s, and this is what I do personally in my own collection, I tend to upgrade. So if so like my personal slab collection for my 151 decks, most of them are 9s. So my thought process is I get to use these as kind of upgrades. So if I ever come across a 10 in the wild, I can think, okay, I have a 9. I could trade that 9 in to help me get to the 10, if that makes sense. So you can kind of see about it that way too. So you don't always have to get the 10s, because at the end of the day, a 9 and a 10, for me personally, and it might be for you, they're still pack fresh. There's nothing wrong with them. Like, I just care that they came out of a pack fresh and they're kind of, I was the original owner. That's why that's why I don't mind 9s for my personal collection. What's the difference between the different versions of graders, PSA 10, Beckett 10, etc.? They all pretty much use the same grading standard. And I would say that's another thing too with the FOMO, is really trying to stick with like a particular grader or whatever. Like, at the end of the day, whatever slabs you like and however you want to protect your cards, if you're not trying to resell them, choose whatever you want, right? There's so many options out there. You can just choose whatever slab you like. But for resale perspective, it will always be PSA for me. But anyway, I would say the other thing to keep in mind is, especially on social media, the hype is crazy, because it really wasn't that long ago, maybe within like a year, that Diamond and Pearl, that era, was not cool. It was not like the big dog of the conversation, right? It was just like no one really cared about, Diamond and Pearl, up until like a certain point when people were trying to like grasp at straws. It's like, okay, like what's the new thing that we're gonna pump, right? Because Diamond and Pearl, like, and then Pearl. So like maybe like 2 years ago was like, for example, let's say like $5. And then today it's like, let's like triple the price. So like, let's say 15. All because of like hype, right? Which is a huge component of FOMO, skyrocketed the price by like 3x. All because of that FOMO cycle and that kind of like, okay, where is a cheap set that we can buy in really quick to elevate the price? And Diamond and Pearl was that era. But that's kind of, have you seen the Japanese cards at better grades? It makes sense. I mean, their Japanese quality control is crazy. It's all good, Jenna. No need to apologize. We all get very busy. I totally get it. We all get very busy. So yeah, at the end of the day, like, FOMO is a real big thing in Pokemon specifically. It's really just kind of up to us to kind of keep tabs of why we're still in the hobby to begin with, right? If you're just in it for monetary value and monetary gains, that's one thing. You can enjoy it that way, whatever. But just make sure to set realistic goals for yourself so that when you go to like a show, let's say that you go to a Collecticon. There is every card you could possibly imagine at that place for sale. It's the biggest collection convention ever, at least as of this time. And so the desire to buy everything will always be there. But just know that your budget and your lifestyle and how you enjoy the hobby will dictate what you can and can't afford. So going into the collection space, knowing kind of what you want to collect and what you don't want to collect will help you kind of fight those initial urges of like, man, I know I'm only looking for X, Y, and Z, but I haven't seen that card in forever, or I don't think I'll ever see that card in that condition again. Pokemon's not going anywhere. The internet exists. eBay exists. There will be times where you can buy stuff. And for most of us, for the stuff that you could say, well, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, most of us are not collecting Pikachu illustrators. We're not even near that level of, have to arrange a meeting to go to Dubai to buy a card, to buy like a Magikarp Pokemon Snap promo. None of us are going to be in that realm. So keep it realistic. You don't need everything, and just kind of collect what you like. That's kind of how I see it. And then if you don't care about the resaleability, again, even more reason and more, honestly, enjoyment, because Japanese cards, like what Cody was mentioning, the condition is a lot better, their quality control is a lot better, their texturing for Modern is way better than ours, but it just simply, on average, doesn't sell as well as English, excluding Japanese exclusives like the Ponchos, the Screams, and stuff like that. So you can get more bang for your buck if you genuinely like the artwork without feeling like, oh, well, this won't resell well in 3 years. It's like if you're collecting it for yourself, then it doesn't matter, right? Do whatever you want. If it gives you joy, at the end of the day, that's all you should care about. Because as kids, I can confidently say as kids, we didn't care about value, right? Like if someone wanted, I remember very vividly with the Charizard that's on my wall, that someone traded me their Charizard, which is the last Pokemon I needed to collect that wall right there as my childhood. All he wanted was 3 of my trainers that I had in a shoebox that I did not care about. I hated trainers. I hated opening them. But he really wanted 3 of them because he played the game. And I really wanted his Charizard because I needed it for my last entry. And we didn't have TCG Player back then. We didn't have a sense of, oh, I'm getting ripped off. Like, he had cards that he wanted. I had cards that he wanted. And it was a good trade. And it's a very memorable, positive experience for me. Like, I know now, like, the value is way better, but we just didn't care about that. And so I think that's the essence that we really need to kind of protect at all costs, in my opinion, because the moment you lose that ability to really enjoy collecting, then it all just becomes like crypto, NFT, sneaker, like that type of vibe. And for me personally, I don't like that. And so that's why combating FOMO as much as you possibly can, I think, is a really healthy approach to collecting. That's kind of my opinion on it. So before I switch over, I'm going to see if you guys have any other questions about, or just what do you guys think? Like, am I kind of not realistic? Like, do you guys experience FOMO? Like, I want this to be kind of an open conversation, to be quite honest with you, because, FOMO is a really big thing. And, I think a lot of people get affected by it. All my cards as kids have horrible condition, but I love collecting them because Pokemon. I know, right, Jenna? Like I think you were. I think I just got done telling the story, but I have a good friend in the community. She loves collecting Whoopers. You know what I mean? Like, Whooper isn't a very expensive card, but she loves collecting them, and it's super cool. And I'm in the same way. Like, all that. Like, again, I keep pointing at my wall, but all these cards up here on the top of the screen, all those were from my personal childhood collection, and I would never get rid of them, ever. I don't care about the price. I don't care about getting major stonks. All of them are beat up. I remember most of them I carried in my pocket and brought into the woods with me when I would build snow forts. All of them are wrecked. but I love every single one of them. I still remember the first 2 cards I've ever gotten to start my Pokemon journey, which was a Charmander and a Tangela from my friend, because he had so many extras. Those are the 2 that I vividly remember, and that will always stay with me. And those cards are pennies. You know what I mean? They're not worth anything. But I don't care. I would never get rid of. I would never get rid of any of that, ever. So, but I hear you. I totally hear you. All right, so let me see if I can. I'm gonna get my other desk set up because I'm going to go through some cards that are still unprocessed. Luke over on YouTube. FOMO kills people who can't think long term. There will always be better deals or new opportunities. Yes, I 100% agree. That's another good way of thinking about it too, is thinking that that one opportunity is the only opportunity you'll ever get. And trust me, it is not. Just as long as you put yourself, as long as you frame your mindset of putting yourself in areas where opportunities that you're looking for present themselves the most, then it will come again. Like if you're looking for a specific card, but you feel like you're never going to see it again, just simply enjoy going to more card shows to hunt that card down. That's kind of the fun of it too. It's almost like legitimately, it's almost like thinking about like a real world Pokemon hunt to where, hey, you know, that one got away, but I know that it's still here somewhere and I'm going to try to find it again. That's what's fun about it. So, the other day, an adult took the last pack of machine from an excited kid behind. I mean, it happens, man, and it's not good. I can tell you that it's not good. All right, so so now we're gonna be more of like in the kind of the just open talk, just chilling, because I have I have a card show coming up this Sunday, and I looked at my unprocessed binder, and I have a lot of cards that I've still yet to even put into my inventory. So I'm going to be doing that, I think, for the rest of the night. And I'm going to just have to set up my monitor here so I can see you guys in chat. So let me get that squared away, because there's a lot of really cool cards that I honestly have forgotten about. So let me shift over there real quick. So you guys should hopefully see my desk, and I just have to turn on my magnifier, which if you guys have never seen this, it's a pretty cool little tool. It's a Tomlov DM201, so this is the microscope I use for, actually for grading. So I'll use this for grading or having you guys see a little bit better on the condition of some cards, stuff like that. So I'm just going to see if this will connect, and if not, then we'll just kind of have to, because I haven't turned this on in a minute, so just give me 1 second here. So we are going to hopefully turn on the camera. And is it that one? It is that one. Perfect. All right, so what you guys should see, and I don't see you guys yet in chat, so just bear with me. I'm trying to shift my screens here. Just bear with me 1 second. Hey, you guys hear me twice. Let's see. No, I don't want to do that. I'm almost ready, I swear. I'm almost ready. So we're going to split that, and then we're going to go to over here so I can see my YouTube folks. So it looks like more of you is over on YouTube. So if you guys are watching me on Twitch right now, I have YouTube as the primary and TikTok as well. So you guys are more than welcome to hop in on either of those. Perfect. So I think we should be good. So turn that all the way down. Perfect. All right. So I should be able to see most of you guys on both. Perfect. All right. So now I have to do some fun stuff, which is going through my unprocessed cards and seeing what is too rough and making sure may or not be back. I have to go help my brother go move. All good, Jenna. I appreciate you swinging by. Hopefully you have a good rest of your night. And let's see, unprocessed. Jeez, I have way too many. So here's some of the ones. Hopefully you guys can see. So this is what the little microscope does. If you guys have never seen this before, it's pretty cool. Kind of highlight some cards, see a little bit more in depth. But I definitely have to get these ready. So first we have the Team Rocket's handiwork. Nice little card there. And these ones I actually picked up at a show not too long ago. So these ones actually, so you can kind of see, I have some that are marked as traded. And I'll kind of go over why I have that. So this Rainbow Rare Leafeon, I was kind of talking about Rainbow Rares and why I think they're a little bit undervalued in my opinion. I personally, again, going back to that FOMO question, I personally love collecting Rainbow Rares. They're cheap. Not a lot of people really feel like they are worthy, but like look at this, like Solgaleo and the Lunala with the Lilias looks like just super sick. Very nice artwork. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Let's see what else is unprocessed. So basically what it means with like unprocessed is I tend to keep an inventory of all my cards that I have to go through for Sunday. And here's some other unprocessed. We got a ton of Wizards of the Coast Hollow Psychic Energies. So if anyone plays Psychics in Pokemon, I got your plug. I have way too many. Way too many. Let's see. What else do I have? So, no. I have a Charmander. So, honestly, I'm starting to forget on some of these cards. Pokemon Center Charmander. Put that up there. If you guys have never seen him getting mad at the Pidgeys outside. Let's see. So, these look to be... I don't know what those are. I don't know what these are. Let's see. A Ladybug from Dragon Frontier. A Fanita, Roselia, Voltorb. I think most of these, I believe, are near mint, but I would imagine that most of them are not. So those ones I'll have to schedule some time. So I'm actually gonna make like a little pile of, so these ones for sure are gonna be going into inventory soon. Bring at least 2 of those Psychics with you Sunday so I can pick them up off you. Let's do it, man. Yeah, the one on Sunday is, I think you saw the ad, but it's in downtown Albany. So it's at the Capital Region Card Show. But I will for sure bring some for the Groundwalker. So I'll just put a stack here. So these ones I probably will deal with on another stream, the ones on the left, because I don't think those are going to be really, because I really have to kind of be strategic on some of the cards that I actually bring to some of these shows, because I only have so much limited space. I'm always down for Dave's Hot Chicken. Are you kidding me? I know nothing else but Dave's Hot Chicken. All right, so we have some other, because I need some more cards. I think I have like a $25 binder and lower that I need to stock up a little bit. So we have some of these nice, so like a lot of these ones are like actually not that expensive. I don't even know if this one's even worth going in the 5 to 25. I don't even know if that's even worth much. So I think I'll actually probably put the smaller priced ones in this left pile. Like this one, I don't know how much it is. The Exploud, probably put that in there. And then this one is kind of interesting. This one's the Combusken staff promo from the championships. So that's always pretty cool. Put that up there. Let's see. What else? Yeah, I just have like a lot of... It's like a lot of just like random... I think I picked these up... If you guys saw the last video, I picked up a ton of just random, like, lower mid binder stuff that's, like, within, like, 25 to 5. Because sometimes it's kind of nice, because a lot of people, you know, again, I try to cater to a lot of different varieties of folks. So, like, all these, like, full arts, right? They just look so good, but they're only worth, like, $5. You know what I mean? Like, this Furret. Look at that Furret, man. Big chillin'. And the Gulpin sucking on a cake. Like, how could you not? You know, Larvitar, I think there's only like a $5 card. The Crab. Look at this Altaria, man. The Stitch Altaria from Asako. I love it. So these ones I'll have to those ones I think are gonna go more in like my gut is saying that it's probably in the cheaper binder. Would be my guess for those, so that makes sense to put it there. Guzma, I think this one is not going to be like the smaller binder. Oh, actually, it might be, actually. Now we're starting to get into some of the beefier stuff, I think. Yes, I believe, yes. Yeah, so like some of the WB promos. We even have, again, this is why I'm glad I am doing this, because I forgot. So we have some base set. But I forgot that I just had a Shadowless Venusaur just chilling in my unprocessed spot. So that, and the reason why that has a 3 is that's normally helps me in the future remember what condition I assessed it at. And that one I believe I assessed at damaged, because that's like a PSA 3. But yeah, just a lot of good stuff. So those ones I don't need. A lot of like the lower tiered base set and rocket stuff, but more just like so many Ninetales and Poliwrath. So like those ones specifically don't tend to be as popular, which is always interesting, but. Let's see. Yeah, we got some more. Got some more of the, like the Ancient Muse, the Ivy Pikachu, some more Rocket stuff, Alakazams. So we'll have to, those ones we'll have to process for sure. So already giving myself a lot of homework here. So again, just a lot of base set Charizard there. A lot of Mewtwo's, some more Ancient Muse. Yeah, I love the promos too, man. The movie promos are just so sick. But yeah, we got a ton. I think we're in, so this is the clean section, I believe. Yes. So those ones I have to clean. But these are just more of like the near mint stuff. The Crobat, always a big fan of like the Neo. It's like the Crobat and the Dark Crobat. And then more Ancient Muse. So that's in that pile. Definitely giving myself more homework than I probably care to admit. And these ones, I think these are like there's like minor little creases and dents and stuff for some of these. So like the Vaporeon. Some of these I might just kind of put out there, just like this one I think had like a minor bend in one of the corners. But a lot of just really good. A lot of really good stuff. Eevee Snorlax. I think I have 2 of these. Yeah, so I have 2 of the Charizard EXs. So I'll have to Have to probably process most of this off stream tomorrow because I just need to focus on condition. But I think that will be my homework for that. And then what else do I have? I have some. I think that's more stuff. I believe that's more for sale. Let's see. Yes, this is. So this is just like got some Yu-Gi-Oh. What else do we got over here? It's literally, I literally, like, off camera, I literally just have a box of all these cards that are in top loaders and just have, like, random sticky notes on them saying, like, hey, this is what I intended to do, like, 3 months ago. Oh, this is just extra stuff. So this is extra stuff that I normally keep on stock for that $5 to $25 binder. So, like, a lot of it is just kind of mid-filler, or, like I said, like this King Gambit, for example. Really good artwork, but it's only, like, a $5 card. Which is super cool. And so I'll probably go through that just to, because I don't like to have doubles in those binders at all. So trying to keep that double free is desired for me. So I'm thinking I probably will just reassess, like the Glaceon Shatterfoil is always cool. But I just have to reassess to see what cards I have duplicates of in the $5 to $25 binder. And aside from that, I should be getting ready to go for the show. So basically, as a recap, just to kind of give you guys on what I intend on doing, I have 2 streams scheduled, both Friday and Saturday. All those are pretty much going to be dedicated to getting ready for the show on Sunday. So I'm really going to be having to dial in. So a lot of these cards are going to be more in like that 5 to 25 range, probably excluding the energy and probably the Guzma. But a lot of this stuff I really like to kind of stock stuff. It's affordable for everyone, but these ones I kind of offer lower on if someone comes up to my booth. But there's really interesting, like these Legend Maker stuff. Like these weren't in like the greatest condition, but it's all like really good hollow reverses. Like these are probably some of the best reverses you can get. Some Leafeon, some more of like from like the Burger King promo stuff. And then the other one that I'll probably have to do tomorrow is just double check. So these ones are the cards that I'm going to be trying to probably double check and see if I want to go through the hassle of cleaning. Because realistically, recently, it's just been so hard and just so time consuming to clean that I've pretty much opted out of doing it. I still do it from time to time. I have an Entei that's currently in the works because I had the Raikou. But it's just a lot. It's a lot of time, a lot of effort. Which is why those services are becoming so popular now. I don't know if you guys have seen those, but they're becoming really, really popular. But yeah, a lot of these cards I just have to put into my inventory for Sunday. So I'll probably be doing this more on Friday and Saturday. So if you guys want to make sure to tune in on that stream, the Discord has the invite link or the reminder in the Discord. You can find that in the description in the bio, or in my description if you're watching me on YouTube. But this one had a lot of base set, this collection I picked up, and a ton of Ancient Muse. A lot of Ancient Muse, and a lot of base set stuff. So super stoked. It's gonna be a lot of work, but it's always worth it. So gotta start pricing these out, and then especially these ones. These were the ones that I picked up on a trade. Consolidating some stale inventory, so these ones are going to be cool to get in the works. So yeah, I have my homework assignment for Friday and Saturday streams, so definitely check that out. Probably Thursday I'm going to be double checking and making sure that everything is appropriately marked. So we'll have that. And yeah, so that is pretty much everything that I have in the unprocessed stuff. And during the stream on Friday and Saturday, I'll probably be going through my inventory on what I'm actually bringing, including pricing of things. So definitely check that out. Again, the reminders are set in the Discord, so make sure to follow the Discord, which will be in my link in my bio. And until then, I think I'm going to call it there, guys. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. Thank you for all the likes, follows, subs, all that fun stuff. And I will see you guys if you guys decide to swing by. I'll probably see you Friday night just to kind of chill and do some inventory and watch me sticker hundreds of cards. So appreciate it as always.